Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel English Literature. Today we are going to read The Last Ride Together by Robert Browning, stanza 7. Now in the previous stanza, the rejected lover talks about the statesman and soldier. How his life, how his fate is superior to those persons. And now in stanza 7, he is talking about the poet. He is justifying that in which respect his life is more sublime and successful in comparison to the poet. What does it all mean, poet? Again a question. The poet turns all the things into loveliness. The poet takes great pains in the creation. Now, but what is the reward? What reward does he get? What does it all mean? Poet. Now, after asking the question, he is answering himself. Well, your brains beat into rhythm. Brains. Now, brains stands for the place where we conceive thoughts, ideas. So the brain conceives thoughts, and with those specific thoughts the poet creates something beautiful. The poet shapes those thoughts into rhythm. So rhythm actually express in words. So those thoughts that the poet create in his brain, then he shapes with words, metrical pattern, figure of speech. The poet shapes them. Here it is the thoughts. It looks more like cloud. So the thoughts that the poet shapes, poet creates in his brain, gives birth in his brain. Those thoughts are shaped into the line of verse. And in those lines of verse we find metrical pattern, figure of speech. So this is the process of a poet. So the question that the rejected lover asks, what does it all mean, poet? All mean, poet? Then he is answering, well, your brain beats into rhythm, you tell what we felt only. So here he draws a comparison. The comparison is between common people and with the people like poet who are extraordinary. So we common people cannot conceive those thoughts into our brain. We can feel. So the common people can, here common people, poet. We only feel. And what we feel, the poet can describe, poet can give shape in his poetry, in his metrical verse. So the poet can describe what we feel. He is the spokesman of the common people. He can express our thought. We cannot express, we only can feel. So in this respect, poet is superior to us. So it is, if it is asked in which respect poet is superior to us, the poet can describe the things that we cannot. We can only feel. You expressed. So it is your job to express them in words or in verse. You hold things beautiful the best. You hold that beautiful things. You hold the beautiful things and best things of the world. Beautiful, the best. So through your poetry, through your metrical verse, you hold the most beautiful things. Because we know that beauty is truth and truth beauty, and it is said that poet is the worshipper of beauty and paste them in rhyme, so side by side. And now after you conceive those beautiful thoughts and ideas in your brain, then what you do? The same thing that I say, this process, the same thing you do, that is paste them into rhyme side by side. Means here arranging them. Actually, no, arranging is the most tough work for a poet, because we can think a lot of thoughts, and to arrange them in a particular poetic pattern is very tough. So the poet's greatness lies in the fact that he can arrange his thoughts in metrical pattern and describe the beautiful things in verse, paste them in rhymes. A poet can describe the beautiful things verse. Okay, that is something, nay, it is much. So at first he is saying it is something, not so much important he is giving. Then he is saying no, it is much, nay, it is much. So at first he says this poetic process, it is means this poetic process, this poetic process of conceiving ideas and then express them in the most beautiful way, that is the poetic process. So this poetic process is something, at first he is not giving so much importance or so much regard or accepting the contribution, but then he is negating himself and he is modifying. So here the tone you find, tone of modifying, he is modifying his speech, he is modifying his opinion. Which opinion? That something. No, it is not something, it is not only something, it is much. This word, it is much. So from something he is modifying his tone, he is modifying his interpretation to the much, and now that it is much, its poetic creation has some greater value, not some specific lesser value, but it has some great value. He is accepting that. But then, okay, again the word but. So when he is describing the poetic process, he is saying that it is something, then he is negating himself and saying that no, it is not something, it has greater value. But even then there is a but. So why this but? This but has very importance for the rejected lover, because he is justifying himself and he is also justifying himself in respect of others. He is comparing himself. He is comparing himself with the statesman, with the soldier, and now poet, and later we will find with others. So this but, this word actually reinforces his better fate, reinforces his better position, you can say, than those person. And what is that position? Being rejected and then enjoying the time with the little love by riding together. Okay. Have you yourself what is best for man? Okay, you have okay, I am accepting that your poetic creation has not something but greater value. But even then, have you yourself what is best for man? That you yourself has get what is best for man. You describe, it is your job to describe beautiful ideas in your poem. But you yourself can reach a bit nearer that sublime bliss that you express in your poem. So this is the question on the part of the poet lover, that have you yourself enjoyed your life? Have you yourself enjoyed in your life? What you have felt in your life, can you just reach that sublime? Can you reach that sublime point? Sublimity. Can you reach that sublimity that you have described in your poem? So in your poem, you talk about other person, other people, other men. But have you ever reached that position? He is asking this question. Now, are you poor, sick, old, time means prematurely old? Okay, he is prematurely old. You are poor because you remain engaged with your poetic creation day after day without thinking for material obligation or material profit. So you don't think about your material profit, and that's why you remain poor. Now even you are sick because you work hard. You works very hard to bring the beauty, the perfectness in your poetry, in your verse. So that's why you are poor, you are weak, and even you are prematurely old. You get old before the actual time. So what is your reward? After becoming so much successful, this is your reward. This is the reward of the poet. Nearer one with your own sublime. You cannot attain your own sublime bliss. This line is repeated here. Nay, it is much than that. But then this line. Have you yourself what is best for man? So nearer one with your own sublime. So you wrote for others sublimity, but you cannot attain your own sublime bliss. After so much hardship, after so much sacrifice, you remain poor, sick, and old. Then we who never have turned a rhyme. So who are we? We are the common people. We are the common people who lacks that brain power, who are the ideas of poetic creation flourish. So we the common people, we have never turned rhyme. We have never written a single line of verse. We the common people never written a single line of verse. So what is the comparison? Again he is comparing with the poet and the common people. That we cannot write poem, but we can feel the pleasure of writing with our lady love. So it is his point of view. Sing, riding a joy, for me I ride. Sing, riding a joy, for me I ride. So you will find this I ride, this type of word is repeated in every stanza. In every stanza, he is reinforcing this line. Sometimes we ride, or my riding is better. This type of thought, if you go through the previous stanzas, you will find this line is getting repeated again and again to reinforce his happiness in comparison with the other. We rode, it seemed my spirit flew in stanza 5. So here again, the poet describes the joy of riding. It is better to ride than to write poem. So for me I rode. It is better to ride by the side of the lady than to write poem. It is his point. For me I rode. Whatever you do, you do. I don't care about you. You just give birth to numerous wonderful thoughts and just arrange them in poetical meter or verses. Whatever you want to do, you do. Just I don't care. It is better for me to ride by the side of my lady love than writing poetry. So he is very practical guy. You can feel that. So the poet only describes the joy of riding. Yeah, for riding a joy. Sing means write poetry. Okay, you can write. I am riding. I am riding with my lady love, and now you can write a poetry about that riding and how we are feeling. So you can write a poetry about our riding. That riding is joyous ceremony, and you can express those joy, those feelings in your words. But you yourself cannot experience that joy. So poet only describes the joy of riding. So a poet only describes the joy of riding, but cannot feel the thrill of it. Okay. So in this respect, the lover is again far more superior to the poet. So stanza 7, now we have stanza 8, stanza 9 and stanza 10. 3 stanza again. Okay, we'll finish. Don't worry. Thank you for staying with us. Have a good day.